Yeah, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us here at beautiful Wicks Family Field at Joe Davis Stadium. Uh, Really exciting time for the club. We have, we think, one of the absolute best coaches in soccer in Next Pro joining us, kicking off on Saturday. It's going to be a beautiful match on Saturday. Fireworks return, a lot of great players, and of course our awesome new coach. So I want to welcome you, Chris, to the Rocket City.
Thank you. Thank you.
Matt, would you like to say some words about Coach O'Neill?
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming, and obviously we're delighted to introduce Chris O'Neill as the new head coach of Huntsville City FC. It was a very thorough process to find the right person, and in Chris we believe we've got one of the best player developers in the country. His track record speaks for itself. His work at Sporting Kansas City, Inter Miami, worked with a number of MLS homegrowns, had huge success with his teams on the field in results as well. And we believe with our talented roster, we've now got one of the best coaches in the country, and look forward to seeing his work with them and the team overall.
Chris, I'll let you have the floor. What would you just like to say to the Huntsville City FC fans about this opportunity?
First, I would like to thank Matt, thank Chad for the opportunity. I'm extremely excited for the fans. The players are excited. We feel a renewed sense of energy, excitement, and we're ready to see everyone out at the Joe this Saturday.
With that, I'll open it up for questions. Nick, would you like to go first?
Sure. Coach, welcome to Huntsville.
Thank you.
You're not new to the Yellowhammer State. You started your college career 3 years down at UAB. Did you ever imagine coming back to Alabama, and what was that phone call like when you found out you got the job?
Yeah, no, I loved Alabama when I was here. I think it's a fantastic state. I didn't imagine it, but the opportunity presented itself, and it's a fantastic opportunity. The project here is extremely exciting, and the support that this city has shown this club so far has been absolutely incredible. And I think it's one of the most unique atmospheres in this entire league, and it's extremely exciting to be a part of.
In the press release, you said you were intrigued by the top-tier talent, I believe you called it. What about this year's group has excited you of things you can improve upon in the future?
Yeah. So one is, I think we have players that are willing to learn. They're willing to try. They're willing to give effort. And all the games this year, I know some of the results haven't gone exactly the right direction, but the players seem to keep fighting. They show bravery. And I look at the last game that they had, and it's tremendous to continue to build off of. The potential for them to rise to the top is there. It's just about developing the right habits and going about things in the right way consistently. And the more consistent that we can be, then potentially that potential will rise to the top.
Chris, hello. Carl Prather, WAFF-TV here in Huntsville. I did want to ask you about just the process and what made Huntsville City FC attractive to you, and the facilities and everything that this franchise has to offer that was an ideal choice for you in your professional career.
Okay. So what made it an ideal opportunity? You have a city that has a fan base, and I think the fans provide a certain amount of pressure and a certain amount of added elements that is necessary for a player to truly make it as a professional. We can recreate environments in terms of cognitive demands as much as we might like, but then the reality of having actual people there supporting you it adds another element that is impossible to recreate. So that is very exciting. The facilities here, we have everything that we need in order to create a true professional environment in terms of fields, fields if we're playing on turf, fields if we're playing on grass in order to prepare, locker room and facilities. Oftentimes, a lot of places they're forced to share things and you're limited in terms of training windows and that type of thing. Here we have no real limitations. And the movement from players between Nashville and Huntsville is very smooth. It's a clean process, and you have all the right tools and ingredients for high-level player development.
Philosophy is one thing, and that'll take care of itself in the next couple of weeks and the duration of your tenure here. Just wanted to ask just the first couple of weeks, just goals for you with this organization, your players moving forward as they continue to kind of develop under what you want to try to accomplish.
Yeah, so for the next couple of weeks, I think it's I've been fortunate, and it's very rare in a situation in a club standpoint that the first team head coach and the second team head coach come in at the same time. So we have a unique opportunity in terms of getting alignment with where we are here in Huntsville and what it looks like in Nashville as well. So it'll be about continuing to understand the game model and what ultimately our club wants to get to. But how do we make progress in terms of what the game model, game style that we want to play as a club, as I guess a combined collective club.
Trevor?
How much are you looking forward to that game against Nashville and see like what kind of crowd you wanted to see here for that first major league team that would be in Huntsville since 1999, I believe. How excited are you for that?
Yeah, that's going to be extremely exciting. I know the players will be very up for it. I think the fans, it's a unique opportunity that you have a MLS club coming into your town to see you. That doesn't happen often. So I think it'll be a one-of-a-kind night, and I imagine the place is going to be pretty packed.
How do you feel like your MLS experience is going to help you continue to develop this roster?
So it's mixed with a good balance of some players that have certain experiences, some players that have been in MLS environments, and with each player, what I've learned over time, they all have different motivations and they all have different reasons for why they want to be successful or why they want to be a player, and they all have different motivators. So in my experience, I've worked with kids of all different nationalities. They come from many different types of backgrounds. There's certain ones, the way that you talk to them, it can't be the same way that I would talk to you. So you find ways that you can find the right triggers for their motivation and how you push them to get the right response. So in my experience in MLS, you have a wide range of the type of players, like kids that are from the U.S., from south of the U.S., in Sporting Kansas City, we were forced to rely a lot on outside recruiting. So our players came from all parts of the country. It was very, very small number actually ended up from Kansas City. In Miami, it was completely different. They came from all over the world. So it's a balance of how you manage and how you talk to certain players to get them all to buy into a certain vision and get them pointed in the right direction. And once that happens, then that's when you see good football, good soccer.
Working primarily with U17s and U15s, what does it take as a coach to sort of get through to guys that are that young?
You'd be surprised how old some of them think they are. And I'm sure if anyone has teenagers, then they all know everything already, and it can be a very challenging time. But it's a process, and it's no different than essentially parenting. You're going to have to tell them, you say it one time, okay, you're going to have to say it 15 times before it hopefully sinks in, and then there's a hard lesson that they ultimately learn it from. So it's the pointing out and figuring out certain details, certain things that you can trigger, and you hope that you get the right response from them. But I think patience is an important thing, trusting the process and not being too quick to go away from a mistake, and being able to say, okay, he's going to learn from it, and we stick with what our vision is. And the more that you have consistency and the more that you have a vision, the more that you have a plan, then over time you start to see the wheels turning.
Just got here earlier this week and already making your sideline debut in 2 days. What's that sort of going to look like?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind in terms of travel, relocation, everything. We had social media people were out asking about favorite parts of Huntsville so far, and for me, I'm looking forward to seeing the Joe. I think Joe on the Sunday night is going to be my favorite part of Huntsville. But at the same time, all I've seen so far is the facility and my apartment that doesn't have a bed currently.
Chad, I do want to ask you a question. Your organization and the franchise as a whole did its respective due diligence to identify someone to lead this franchise. I wanted to ask you, why was it so important for you, your front office, to take your time to make sure that you get it right and have someone that you can continue to have someone that can help develop these young men throughout the rest of the franchise and organization?
Yeah, I really want to give Matt and Mike Jacobs, the entire NSC team, all the credit. They did an incredible job. I mean, we're on the business side, so we're looking forward to selling the success. But the Nashville team working, I mean, Matt's a great leader. When we talk about best in class, we think we have a best in class coach, best in class director of soccer operations, best in class front office. So it's just putting all those pieces together. So real kudos to the soccer operations and finding which we think is one of the elite coaches.
Yeah, I think obviously with Nashville bringing in BJ, we wanted to make sure we were fully aligned as an organisation, and as I've already mentioned, Chris's work speaks for itself, but we wanted to make sure we went through a really thorough process, and Chris's attention to detail stood out from day one. He had to go through a few more conversations, but he just excelled throughout that. Obviously we were very familiar with his teams. Our academies have played against Chris's teams and had some difficult results against them, so all different people within our organisation have had great experiences of Chris O'Neill's work, and his personality shone through in the interview process as well. So it became a no-brainer for us, honestly. We wanted to make sure we took our time to go through the process, but Chris was a standout candidate throughout.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Coach, tell us about the first time you kicked the ball.
The first time I kicked the ball, I think it's a story that my mom told me, because I don't think I was old enough to remember. They gave me a soccer ball, and I grew up in Georgia, so very similar here. You have a bunch of red clay and red ant hills, and somehow the ball went into the ant hill, and I went in after the ball as well, and it was the first time, and that's what she tells me, and ever since then it's been kind of an addiction to me.
And then the path to elite coaching.
The path into coaching. So I've always been obsessed. So even, as a kid, I would come home from school, I would watch, games as back when there wasn't the availability that we had now. But always Bundesliga, Serie A, Premier League, everything. And eventually, after I stopped playing, I got into it and ended up with a few injuries. And during the times that I was injured, they said, here, we go do these camps. And then after the camps, then kind of got recognized and then got pulled into the club scene and then bounced around from club scene, and eventually now we're here.
Good evening and welcome into sports. I'm Nick Kuzma. With me is the new head coach of Huntsville City Football Club, Chris O'Neill. Coach, welcome to Huntsville.
Thank you.
This is not your first time in Alabama. Spent 3 seasons at UAB. Did you ever expect to be back in the Yellowhammer State? And what was it like when you got that call that you were going to be the head coach of HCFC?
To be honest, no. I didn't expect to be back in Alabama with the way my career was going in terms of MLS. And when I got the call, I was ecstatic. I think it's a fantastic opportunity, a unique environment, and really, really excited to get to work and see everyone out at the Joe this Saturday.
HCFC was one of the first clubs to have a true sort of minor league feel in MLS Next Pro. They're not just in the facility as an MLS team. It's actually a true minor league type town. What intrigues you about that, and what about the fans have you heard about so far?
So what intrigues me about it is I think this is such a unique opportunity, and when we're in our position, we're trying to create the right environment to create high-level professionals. And high-level professionals, they also need certain stimulus in terms of being able to respond when fans are yelling at them, respond when they're not performing. If they miss something, that the fans let them know about it. This is added pressure, and it's a way that we can accelerate high-potential players to hopefully make them ready and to gain time in their development.
Well, creating high-level professionals has sort of been your business the last several years. You have a lot of experience in the MLS academies, including in Kansas City and in Miami, working primarily with the U15s and the U17s. What about that experience do you think prepared you for your time here in Huntsville?
So I think being at both clubs with Kansas City, we were forced to recruit, and we had to recruit nationally. So most of the players that were a part of the Kansas City Academy, they were from all over the country. Different backgrounds, different areas, so different types of personalities that you have to deal with. And same thing in Miami, but it was a little bit more of a global environment. And those players at that level, they have extreme talent. Many of them have went on to be able to make careers, but the balance of being able to deal with certain personalities and understand the right triggers and the right motivations for how they can get better, it becomes a very important thing as a manager to be able to deal with.
It's been a unique season for HCFC. There's been 3 different managers now, including you, to lead the boys in blue out onto the pitch. And the results haven't been, of course, exactly what this organization is hoping for, just 3 wins in regulation so far. How do you hope to turn that around, and how do you hope to sort of win over this club and this fan base?
No, yeah, it's all part of a process. I think for sure, you want the results to be able to justify and show that the development is happening. It's a difficult time, but I think judging by my first week in with the group of guys, they're re-energized, they're rejuvenated, they seem extremely committed, and this is all that you can ask for. And it's a process. It's unfair to say, okay, that just because we didn't win the game, that we didn't do certain things in the right way. So for me, it's about aligning with BJ, aligning with Nashville, and making sure that we're going in the right direction. And this is how we'll measure our success. And if we're going in the right direction and we start checking certain boxes, then the results should come.
You mentioned Nashville. What have you learned about the parent club so far?
So far, it's a great organization. Everyone that's a part of the organization to me has been very open. That it's a information sharing situation. So there's a lot of information that's coming in and coming out. But I think it's in terms of direction, in terms of style of football, we want to be a little bit more aggressive and want to be proactive in how we go forward. But we also want to be very pragmatic and very difficult to play against when we are defending. So.
You mentioned in your introductory press conference that your apartment isn't exactly set up yet. Your house isn't quite exactly where I think most coaches would be this late in the season. Right. It's been a quick turnaround for you, and you already have a game coming up this weekend. How do you prepare for that?
With the apartment or just the game?
Everything. How do you prepare for this new life in Huntsville?
For the new life in Huntsville, it's I'm excited for it. I feel like I'm in a very good area. It's fantastic. Like I'm over the moon right now with my life in Huntsville. For the game this weekend, it's like I said, it's a continuous process. We're focusing on us and who we want to be, and obviously Chattanooga provides us a very difficult opposition. They're organized. They're very good defensively, and then they can cause you real problems going forward. So for us, it's being smart, being disciplined, and making sure that we're executing the way that we want to execute.
Coach, thanks so much. Once again, welcome to Huntsville. That is Chris O'Neill, the second head coach in the history of Huntsville City Football Club.